Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're opening up a topic that, well, it impacts millions of lives, but it's one that's so often kept in silence,
Yeah,
shrouded in this really deep personal shame.
it really is.
We've got a stack of research here, and it details this neurological hijacking that happens when screen time becomes compulsive. Our mission today is pretty direct.
Yeah.
We want to move past any kind of moral judgment
Exactly.
and really understand the mechanics, measure the actual damage, and most importantly, give you a real, concrete roadmap to quit and get your focus back.
Yeah, practical toolkit.
Let's start with a story to kind of anchor this. We'll call him Alex. He's a 28-year-old engineer. His curiosity starts off small, but it snowballs into this escalating habit.
A very common pattern.
Right. Those nightly sessions turn into hours. His relationship starts to cool off. His focus at work just plummets, and he's living with this constant nagging guilt. If any of that resonates, that feeling of losing control, then this deep dive is for you.
And it's so important that we start with a clear definition here. We're not talking about a moral failing. This is a behavioral addiction.
Okay, so like compulsive gambling or even, internet gaming.
Exactly like those. The common thread is the brain's reward system. The source material explains it like this. Viewing this content releases these massive, unnatural doses of dopamine. You can picture them as these high-intensity dopamine arrows.
Ah, so it's a chemical thing from the get-go.
It is, and that conditions the brain to seek it out again and again, compulsively. Over time, you need more intensity, or just more time, to get that same short-lived pleasure. The addiction is really cemented when you recognize the damage, the strain on your relationships, the problems at work, but you still feel like you can't stop.
So let's talk about the scale of this.
You-
Because when you're caught in that loop, you feel completely isolated. How widespread is this, really?
Oh, it's far from isolated. The scale is, frankly, staggering. Some studies show that about 70% of young men are consuming this kind of content at least weekly.
70%.
Weekly. And when you filter that down from just general use to actual addiction, research from Cambridge University suggests addiction rates are somewhere between 10 to 15% of the male population in Western countries.
And in the U.S.?
In the U.S., for that 18 to 30 age group, over 60% report regular exposure.
Those numbers. They just paint a picture of how normalized exposure has become. But what are the actual stakes? Where does this cross the line from a private habit into something really destructive?
This is where the consequences become so clear. There are these long-term studies, 5-year studies, that found quitting this specific compulsive behavior, it reduces the risk of divorce by up to 50%.
Wait, hold on. Did you say 50%?
50. 50.
Wow, I mean, that just completely reframes this, doesn't it? This isn't just about personal discipline anymore. This is about relationship survival.
Absolutely. It shows you the sheer scale of the intimacy erosion we're talking about. And it's not just emotional. The impact is physical, too. The Journal of Sexual Medicine links 25% of erectile dysfunction cases in men under 40 directly to this. It's often called porn-induced ED.
So the brain just gets, used to the screen over a real person.
In a way, yes. It gets so habituated to the novelty and the extremity on screen that it genuinely struggles to connect with real-life, normal intimacy.
So why does it get so strong? I mean, why does Alex keep going back, even when he knows it's hurting his career, his relationship? Is it purely psychological?
It's the wiring. It's deeply chemical. Think of your dopamine receptors as volume knobs. If you keep blasting the music at full volume with the super intense content, your brain, in self-defense, just turns the knob way down.
So it desensitizes itself.
Exactly. That's habituation. And suddenly normal sounds, real life, real intimacy, a good conversation, they can easily be heard. And just as critically, this constant overstimulation weakens the prefrontal cortex, the PFC.
The PFC,
Hmm?
that's our CEO,
Yeah.
right? The part of the brain that makes plans and says no to stuff.
That's the one. It handles rational decisions, future planning, impulse control. When that gets weaker, your ability to think rationally, to remember the guilt you felt just yesterday, and to resist that urge, it just plummets. It perfectly explains why Alex can't focus on his engineering tasks. His control center is offline.
That makes so much sense. So that's the how. What about the psychological why? What's pushing people into this cycle in the first place?
The research points to 4 main drivers. First, and this is a big one, is loneliness, a real lack of genuine intimacy. This content offers a quick, easy substitute without any of the messiness or vulnerability of a real connection.
A quick fix for a deep need.
Precisely. Second, it's a powerful psychological escape, a way to numb out anxiety, work stress, fatigue, even depression. It's a fast-acting tranquilizer.
And I imagine for a lot of people it starts young.
That's the third driver. It often begins with simple sexual curiosity in adolescence. But because the content is so intense, it creates these addictive reward patterns right away that just get carried into adulthood. And fourth, frankly, is a lack of healthy scientific sex education. For many, porn becomes the primary and totally warped reference for sexuality.
So you have this perfect storm that creates the cycle.
Yep.
If we can map out the steps in that cycle, we can figure out where to break it. What does it look like?
It's a very predictable, destructive loop. It always starts with a trigger, an emotion usually. Stress, boredom, loneliness.
Okay, trigger.
That leads to the tempting thought, or the urge, which is then followed by the compulsive viewing, which provides that little hit of dopamine pleasure.
Again?
But then comes the crash. Intense guilt or despair, and here is the absolute key to why people get trapped. The next time, the brain goes back to viewing not just for pleasure, but to escape the shame and guilt from the last time.
Oh, wow. So the solution becomes the cause of the next problem.
It becomes a perpetual feedback loop. To get out, you have to shatter that cycle, usually right at the urge or the guilt phase.
Let's talk about the real-world signs. For someone listening, maybe seeing parts of Alex's story in their own life. What are the clearest signs this is tipped over into addiction?
You have to look for a loss of control. Do you regret it every single time, but then do it again anyway? That's a huge red flag. Another is escalation, needing more intense or novel content for arousal, while your pleasure from real sex is diminishing.
And what about outside the bedroom?
Big drops in focus. A sense of pervasive boredom with normal life. Your relationships are getting worse, you're not sleeping well, and your performance at work or school is slipping. When Alex's engineering work started to suffer, that was his weakened PFC screaming for help.
The psychological toll just sounds devastating.
It really is. Your self-esteem just craters. You're filled with shame, a feeling of worthlessness, which of course just reinforces the need to escape. And your mental image of sex and relationships becomes completely distorted, which creates this huge distance between you and your partner.
And for someone career-focused, like Alex, you're saying there's a measurable hit to productivity.
Oh, absolutely. The data is clear. One study on entrepreneurs found that quitting boosted their daily productivity by up to 40%.
40%.
On the flip side, students caught in the cycle report their academic performance dropping by as much as 25%. When all your mental energy is going into fighting urges and managing guilt, there's just not much left for your goals. People who quit consistently say they have more time, better ideas, and they advance faster in their careers.
Before we get to the recovery plan, we have to talk about the myths, the rationalizations that the brain builds to keep the habit going.
Yes, you have to dismantle those. The most common one is, well, everyone does it, so it's normal. And while exposure is common, compulsive use that causes personal damage is absolutely not healthy or normal.
What are some others?
It only affects me. We just saw the 50% divorce risk stat, so that's obviously false. Or getting a partner will fix it. And the big one, the belief that it's necessary for arousal or that it's just harmless entertainment. These are just defense mechanisms the addicted brain creates.
Okay, so we've defined it, we get the brain science, we see the cycle. Now the crucial part, the roadmap to recovery. You're saying this isn't a switch you flip, it's a process.
It's a gradual structural process. It starts with detox, usually 1 to 2 weeks. This is where you physically eliminate it. You'll have strong urges. You might be irritable, restless. You need zero access and a lot of support here.
And after that initial phase,
Then comes neural rewiring, which takes 1 to 3 months. This is where the brain pathways actually start to rebuild. The urges get weaker, and your sensitivity to natural rewards, real connection, a sense of accomplishment, slowly starts coming back online.
and once that initial battle starts to ease up,
We move into stabilization. That's at the 3 to 6 month mark. Healthy replacement habits are solid now, your thinking is clearer, and normal life feels good again. And finally, after 6 months, you enter growth and transformation. You're solidifying a new identity and channeling all that recovered energy into new talents, new goals.
that timeline is so helpful. So let's get into the toolkit. What can someone do like today?
First thing, trigger identification. You have to get a piece of paper and write down what prompts the behavior. Is it being alone? Is it scrolling on your phone late at night? Is it stress after work? You have to know your enemy. Awareness is step 1.
Okay, so you know the trigger. What's next?
Cut access immediately. Delete your history, your bookmarks, install a serious site filter app, even use parental controls on your own devices. And a simple, powerful one. Move your laptop out of the bedroom and into a public space in your home. Make it inconvenient.
And because the brain is screaming for that dopamine hit, you need a healthy substitute ready to go, right?
You absolutely have to have a replacement behavior ready. When the urge hits, you need to act instantly. Go for 10 minutes of intense exercise. Jump in a cold shower. Do the 4-7-8 breathing technique. Call a friend. Anything that activates your dopamine system in a healthy way.
And this brings us to what might be the most powerful immediate tool, the 90-second technique.
Yes. The neuroscience on this is fascinating. The acute physical peak of an urge only lasts about 90 seconds. Your only job is to get through those 90 seconds without acting.
So what do you do in that time?
A simple instruction is to just get a glass of water and drink it slowly. The act of doing something physical, something different, breaks the mental pattern and gets you past that peak. It works.
I could see how daily journaling would be huge here too.
Essential. You note the trigger, how strong the urge was, and what you did to resist it. It moves you from being on autopilot to being a conscious observer of your own mind.
We should also touch on prevention, especially for young people.
It's vital. We need to focus on media literacy, teaching kids about artificial stimulation, and providing healthy scientific resources for their curiosity. For parents, it's about creating a safe space for honest questions and, yes, some gentle, indirect monitoring.
And for a partner watching someone go through this, how can they help without becoming a rescuer?
It's a tricky balance. The key is non-judgmental support. Be there to listen. But you have to set clear boundaries to protect your own mental health. You are not responsible for their recovery. The focus should be on patiently rebuilding real intimacy and communication.
And the big one, relapse. What happens if you slip up? How do you avoid that spiral of shame that just starts the cycle all over again?
First, we need to distinguish between a slip, which is one viewing, and then you get right back on the plan, and a relapse, which is a full return to the old pattern. If a slip happens, you have to forbid self-blame.
So no beating yourself up.
None. Instead, you analyze it like a scientist. What was the trigger I missed? What can I learn from this? And then you immediately get back on the plan. Getting back up is the single most important part of long-term success.
Let's do a few quick-fire questions that I know listeners have. For someone with porn-induced ED, does normal sexual function come back?
Yes, in the vast majority of cases, it does. It just takes patience. Usually, you'll see significant improvement in 3 to 6 months as the brain resensitizes.
How long for the brain to really, truly heal?
That initial neural rewiring, restoring sensitivity, takes about 3 to 6 months. But for full cognitive stabilization, where the guilt and compulsive thoughts really fade, that can take 1 to 2 years. It's a marathon.
Yeah, and what if someone has tried and failed to quit many, many times? Is there still hope?
Absolutely, 100%. Every attempt is not a failure. It's data collection. You learn something new about your triggers every single time. Most people who succeed have tried and failed before. Rising again is what defines success. Look, this is a real and it's a fully treatable problem. This behavior is a signal. It's signaling stress or loneliness or a lack of healthy coping mechanisms. It is not a sign of bad character. And real life, real peace, real intimacy, it's all waiting for you beyond the screen.
We want to leave you with one concrete thing to do. If you can identify just one of your triggers today, that specific time, that feeling, that place that usually kicks off the cycle, maybe schooling on your phone in bed after 10 p.m., what one specific immediate replacement activity are you going to choose right now to shatter that cycle? Go apply this. The real work starts the moment the screen turns off.